Okay, this is Lewis Thomas with Master Carpenter Series, Part 3, and we're dealing with grafting with a plywood graph, making a plywood graph to figure out hips and valleys. And so I thought of some other things that I could add on to this knowledge base and skill set that will make this easier for you and to give you something to practice on your own. Now, we're going to look at the same graph that we've been looking at, okay? And again, this is a graph, a plywood graph of a 712 pitch roof. And we have the exact angle of the actual, uh, how should I say, the actual hip and valley. We have the actual angle. And this is the way you can tell what the angle is. All right? This is the pivot point, and we have 25. It's about 30 degrees. So that means this side, the bevels on this side that go into the hip this way are going to be 30 degrees. I'm sorry. This side is going to be 60 degrees because this is the 712 side. The 712 side is the longest, it's going to be the longest run line. Okay? The 1212 side is going to be the shortest. And so that's the 1212 side is going to be the side that has the 30 degrees. The 712 side is going to be the side with the bevel on it that has the 60 degrees. 30 plus 60 is 90. So that's your 90-degree corner. Um, I think I want to show you all how to do this with a speed square. All right. Now you saw how I grafted it out by measuring for a 712. I hooked this. Let's just review it. Let's just review it. I'd rather review it than refer you back to part one. Okay. My tape measure, Jezreel. I'm missing it. I thought it was in this pouch. Did it fall out or I mean what happened? But anyway, since I don't have my tape measure, so we come over 7 inches, and you can see a mark there. And we come over 12 inches, and we got a mark there. So 7 inches, 12 inches, and then you got your crosshairs there. After you get your crosshair, you take your chalk line and hook the corner of the plywood and make sure you got both factory edges, and you let it intersect through your crosshairs, your crosshair point of 712. You snap that through. Pop. Then after you do that, whatever your overhang is, if you have a 1 foot overhang, a 2 foot overhang, 3 foot overhang, 16.5 inch overhang, whatever your overhang is, you mark that. Now this one is a 16.5 inch overhang from this end to this end, okay? If you got an uneven overhang, it don't matter. It's still going to tell you exactly where your hip and your valley intersect, okay? This line right here is an outside corner, and that's what your hip is on, okay? That's what's going to determine where your hip goes. But on the inside corner, that's going to determine where your valley goes. You see? That's going to determine where your valley goes. Another thing that I like to bring out to you is this. Um, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but let's say that this let's say this is the outside corner of a subfascia. Outside corner of a subfascia, okay? This is the outside corner of the building line or the walls or the sheeting. I'm trying to describe this in so many different ways so you can really get it, okay? So for your valley would go, your valley, actually your valley would be longer. It would be longer so it could hit the inside because this is an inch and a half right here. The width of this is an inch and a half. From here to here is an inch and a half. So this would be longer so it could hit that. And so when you put this subfascia up, because let's say it runs, your subfascia runs this way, all right? This is going to run right into here square. Okay, I would just make it square. I wouldn't bevel it. That's just a waste of time. And yeah, that's how I would do that. I would just make that square. I would square that off. I would make this is the length that you would have it for. This is the shortness that you would have it for the the the, the hip. But this from here to I would make it to about right here would be the length for the valley. So it would be a little longer for the valley. Your run on for that valley would be a little longer. Okay, now what I really want to show you today is how to do it with the speed square. Okay, now the roof that the way that we did this, we did a 7 inch, 12 inch, a 7 inch, 12 inch. How do you do it with a speed square? Very easy. What you do, if you have a speed square this size, the longest that it is 7 inches. Okay, so since you know that this side is 7 inches, you divide 7 by 2, and you get 3.5 inches. So we know that 3.5 inches. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do just that. If I can find my pencil, I had a pencil here. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. So let's do this. 3.5. I'm putting a little mark there for 3.5, and then the other side, remember, was 12. Half of 12 is 6. So what we do is 6 here. You got to make sure you got a factory edge. So we got 6 and 3.5. 6 and 3.5. I don't know if you all can see this. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. Okay. 3.5, which is half of 7, and 6, which is half of 12. So you can see the crosshairs that I made. All this is a smaller version of this 7.5 12. And now that I have my tape measures, you can see the measurements really good. So you can see the 7 and you can see the 12. You can see the 12. You can see the 3.5. You can see the 6. It's the same thing. And you would take your tape measure, and of course, the longer you have, the greater the measurement, the more accurate it's going to be. Okay, but you can get it really accurate even like this if the overhang is not really big, you know. So so you can see it intersects with the 3.5 and 6, just like it intersects with the 7 and 12 intersection crosshairs. Okay, so that's how you do it with a speed square, and it don't matter what size the speed square is, it's going to be the same thing. Okay, so yeah, you can figure out placement for hips and valleys with just a speed square. Now that's beautiful. I'm showing y'all some good techniques here. Okay, if you like these techniques, let me know. Let me know you appreciate it. Let me know that it was useful. Let me know, whatever. Just, let me know that, I'm doing a good job. Give me a little pat on the back. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I want to know that I'm helping people. Okay, now, what else I want to show you? So I showed you that. I want to show you something else here. I want to show you something else. It's going to be a little difficult here. Let me see. I need a good piece of wood. I want a good piece of wood because I want to do a demonstration here. Let me see here. I want a good piece of wood, a little scrap piece of wood. Oh, this is a good one here. This is good. What I want to show you is how to. I want to show you how I mark out the hip. Okay, not everything, but I'm going to show you how I mark the hip out with the angles. Now, and I want to show you this too. Let me do this. Now that I'm thinking about it. Now, with this right here, you can see. Let me see. Can you see what I'm seeing? Let me see here. Or do I need to move this camera closer? I almost want this thing like right over the work. Okay. Let me see if I can. Let's see here. Let's see how this is going to work out. I want to get it much. Let's zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little bit. And let's tilt it a little bit more so we can see our edges. Okay. All right. Now, what I want to show you is this. Angles. We already established what our bevels are going to be for the 712 side. These are rafters that's going to come up and hit into the hip, okay, or the valley. And on this side, these are the 1212 rafters, and they're going to be 30 degrees. The rafters that go this way and hit into the hip or valley are going to be 712 common rafters with a 60-degree bevel on it. You could tell how steep the bevel is right here versus the shallowness of this one. This angle is a lot more shallower. Now, when you're grafting this out, you could tell what angle your hip is going to have simply. Let's see. Simply, there we go. Simply by putting it on the pivot mark there, and line it up with the line. Okay. So, and just like the rafters are going to be, the bevels on each side of the rafter are going to be 60/30. Well, the angle that you're going to have is going to be 60/30. The compound bevel cut that you're going to have at the end that hits into the um, what that meets at the ridge is going to be, it's going to be 60/30 as well. Okay, that's what this angle here, this sharp angle right here, is 60 degrees. In order to get this angle and make it get the 30 degrees, you just put it on that line right there. And I hope you can see this. Can you see this? Barely. Let me tilt this up. Okay. Let me zoom in. Tilt it. Zoom. Yeah, that's good. So you can see here, this bevel here that you're going to make on this hip, that's 60 degrees. This is 30 degrees. And those two angles together make a 90-degree corner there. And you could say that this right here, let's do this. You could do an imagine that this right here is a common, okay? And this right here, you can imagine that this is a common. All right? I'm just doing this just to illustrate that when you have a common here, and let's imagine the ridge is running out here. This is a king common, this is a king common, and your hip is coming right up in here. That's your 60, that's your 30. Okay? Now I just drew that just so you can get an idea of how it looks, but actually this line is the wall line. Okay? And I'm just doubling it as a, rafter. That's it. Just for illustration purposes. Let me show you something else that I can do. Let me show you this. Okay, let's say we're gonna make a seat cut for this hip here. All right. Let's say we're making a seat cut for this hip. And let me throw out this word of caution here. There is a lot of things that I can't explain to you that you really have to have a real world on the job visual to see other aspects of things I can't even show you right here with this little mock-up. Okay? There's a lot of other variables and a lot of other knowledge that you have to have on a real world job site. This right here uh, is limited in that we're not on a real job site. It's all kind of other variables that you have to take in consideration. Wall heights, it's just so many different things. Ceiling joist sizes, uh, build ups. It's just it's so many different things. Lay-ons, live hips, double valleys. It's a lot of other little variables that I just can't get into right now. So for those that have real world experience and they're actively doing construction, you're going to know those things without me saying them. You're going to know those things without me saying those things. Okay? Let's see here. Let's deal with this 60 degree here. 60 degree here. Watch this. So let me see. Can you see my thing? Yeah. So I want to aim this down a little bit. Okay. So we're going to pivot this to 60 degrees. Okay. I want to show you how I measure stuff. I want to show you some measurements here. Now, the measurement from oh boy, the measurement from the seat cut, the center of the seat cut for the hip. This is what I do. I go halfway, 3/4 of an inch. That's 3/4 of an inch right there. All right. And it intersects with that 60-degree bevel. All right. That's where I'm taking my measurement. That center mark is where I'm taking my measurement to figure out the tail length. So let's see here. I want to see what pitch this thing is here. Just a moment. Okay, it's like 8 1/4. It's an 8 1/4 hip valley cut. All right, close enough. So we got an 8 1/4 hip valley cut. All right, 8 1/4 hip valley cut. So what we do is this. We bring this here. I'm making a line where the 3/4 of an inch and the 60-degree intersect. I just made a line right across. That's all I did. Now what I'm going to do, I want to show you some of my most favorite uh, stair gauges. These are my most prized and favorite stair gauges right here. These are the Starrett number 111. Starrett number 11. They cost $25 a set. They somewhat pricey. There's another stair gauge that I do not have, and I've been looking for, and I cannot find these nowhere. But they like the regular stair gauges that you see in any hardware store. But guess what? I think they're like 2 inches longer than the ones that you see in the store. So if any of your lumber is 808, you know, it'll still give you an accurate measurement. I like these. These are long because these right here, they give you about I say 3/4 of an inch, 5/8. Okay, but these other ones that are like the regular stair gauges, the cheap ones, well, they have some that are long, really nice. I don't know how much they cost, but I seen a guy with these things, and he told me he bought them on eBay, but I've never been able to find them. I don't know. I don't know how to find these things. I can't find them anywhere. But anyway, these are the ones that I've been using for years. The Starretts, okay, the Starretts. And the thing about these, uh, it's cast iron, so these can break. They won't break just dropping and stuff like that, but they break. When I first started using these, I used to tighten these up with pliers, and I would break them. Now, of course, if you just thumb tighten them, no, they're not going to break. If you drop them, they're not going to break. But these are really good. So what I'm going to do Our hip is 8 1/4, 17. Let's just say 17. 8 1/4. So you can see I got that set. I don't know if you can see it on 8 1/4. And then down here, we doing 17. All right. All righty then. Okay. So now what I do is I want to do this, orientate this so you guys can see it good. So for that line right there, I'm just going to bring, I'm just showing you how I do this. Okay. So you see, I got a line there. Now that line right there represents the center of the hip. Where, let me see here. Let's see. Center of the hip. I mean the center of the seat cut. Where it would hit right here on the wall. Okay? Right here on the wall. That it represents that. So what you do, since you have this angle here, the 60-degree angle here, now you're able to get the angle where this is going to hit right where the sheeting and the rafter meet. Okay, so this way you're going to know, how to, and so let's do this. So we're going to do 3 of these lines. We got, I hope y'all can see this. Let me see, can you all see this? No, you can't see nothing. Let me see here. Okay, that's good. Okay, I don't want to put my body in the way. Okay. This line is the line that represents the point that's going to hit right up against the wall. And then we have also, we're going to square this line over too. Okay. Just so you can have some good optics here. So let me show you what's going on here. This angle represents the outside line that hits up against the wall. And if I could show you that, because I want to match this up with what's down here on the plywood graph, so you can see everything. Hold on. We're gonna come down a little bit, about right there. So just like you have this angle here, from here to here, you have that same angle here to here. It's the same thing. This line represents the building line. So what you're going to do when you cut out for your bird's mouth for your hip, now I'm making a seat cut, right? That's your seat cut. Boom, boom. So I'm gonna put a circle on the line that you're gonna cut. There's a circle here, a circle here. That's your bird's mouth, okay? When you cut this out and you put this angle up against the wall, the angles are going to match just like it does right here on your graph. Okay? That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. The other thing I want to show you is this. If you have any questions about this, let me know. I know this can be difficult if you never seen somebody break this down like this before. But let's go back up a little bit. Let's go back up. Okay, let's do full. Let's tilt this some more. Let's get this whole thing in here. Let's zoom out. Let's see, get as much as this in here as possible. Let's tilt up a little bit. All right, and can we go up some more? Nope, that's it. All right, maybe we need to go take our camera back and then tilt it so we can get more. All right, there we go. Now, you got your bird's mouth here, all right? You see how I got the bird's mouth, okay? Now what we're gonna do is measure for the hip valley, right down the center of the hip. We're measuring right down the center of the hip, and we're measuring all the way to that square line. Let's say 28 and a quarter. So hopefully this board is long enough. So we come in here and we measure down 28 and a quarter, which it is. It's long enough. Thank goodness. 28 and a quarter. We just square this over. We just square this over. And that same angle that we have up there, which is 8 and a quarter, 17. Eight and a quarter, 17. And basically that's it. And this works, yeah. Basically, and so this corner right here is what's going to hit right up against this subfascia right here. And you're going to nail through the subfascia, into the subfascia, into the hip. That's how that's going to work. For the valley, it's going to be a little longer. How much longer? Let's see. Okay, I see something that I did wrong here. The measurement that I have from here to here, that actually is measurement on the run, not measurement on the rake. The rake is like the rafter length. Okay, the rake is like the rafter length. Okay, so I did that wrong. When I did like this, 28 and a quarter, and then I just went right over here and measured 28 and a quarter, that's wrong. What I'm going to have to do is step that off. And this board is not long enough for that. Let me see. Maybe it is. Okay, nah, it's not. 17. 17. Let's do this. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 11 inches is right there. Okay, 11 inches. 11 inches. Oh, barely makes it. It just barely makes it. 28 and a quarter. I can. Well, let's just pretend that it is a quarter. It's actually an eighth, but that's good enough. Okay. Now, okay, let's scribble that out. So, on the run, 28 and a quarter comes right here. So, this is what we would cut. We would cut that, and for your subfascia, Because this rafter is so small, you don't need a plancher cut, which is a level cut. You don't need that. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think of some other things that I could show you all without being in the real world, a real world construction site that I can upload here. And I think that's about it. That's about it. That's what I can show you. So, yeah, you can work these problems out. I stuck with the same measurements. I stuck with the same models, the same everything. So when you go to do this yourself, you can test it out and make your own mock-ups and everything with the same measurements that I'm making it up. And then after you master that, you can do it with any measurement, any pitch, whatever. And you can have your own mock-ups and your own, you know, things like that. But anyway, this is Lewis Thomas with the Master Carpenter Series, and this is part 3. And I hope you really this is really useful to you. And if there are other things that you would like for me to discuss, if you have any questions you have, please like and share this. Share it with your boss, your construction workers, your colleagues in construction. Share this. Share it on your Facebook, your Instagram, all that stuff, all your social networking, you know, avenues. Please share this, get this information out, because you really don't have information like this that's free on the internet. And I think knowledge like this should be free. I think it should be free. So I'm going to get out of here. You all take it easy. And thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you very much. Bye.